Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another CXplained chat with some of our favorite guests that we'll be having today. We're very excited to see you all. Let's go ahead and get the chat rolling here. I'd love to see where some people are calling in from, what companies are in the house today. Would love to kind of kick things off with saying hello to everybody. All right, Michigan, SoCal, Toronto. I was just up there. Hopefully, it's not as cold as it was when I was there. Nigel's out in Toronto as well. Texas, Utah, Argentina, San Diego. I was there this past weekend. Weather doesn't get better than San Diego. Love it. Awesome, guys. Well, thank you guys for calling in from all of these different places. Again, we're very excited to have you. My name is Garrett. I am the partnerships manager here at TalentPop and will be your moderator and host today. We're super excited to talk about what AI can really do for CX. We know that we hear about AI just about every day this time of year and kind of, I guess, from now on. But we're very excited to see how these conversations around CX and AI can really help a lot of these businesses grow and kind of change the way that they do conversational commerce. In today's conversation, obviously, will is built around CX leaders who are still exploring AI, trying to learn the ins and out, and trying to find better ways to implement it and use it with all of their teams. So we're very excited to have some of our very, very good panelists talk a little bit about their use cases and all the things that they are doing. Of course, if you're ready to stay ahead of the curve, we'd love to see some lightning bolts in the chat. Let's see if we can beat last webinar's chat. There was a lot of lightning bolts last time. I'm only seeing one so far, so let's crank that number up and obviously jump right in here. As always, we do here have a little gift as well for a chance to win an Uber Eats gift card and a free CX audit. So I'm going to go ahead and share that. Make sure to scan the QR code and get stuff going there while we get to introduce our very exciting guests here. I am going to kick things off here. Why don't we have Tamana introduce herself?
Awesome. Well, Garrett and the whole team, thank you so much for having me here today. I'm Thamana Bawa. I'm one of the tech partner managers at Triple Whale. And for those who don't know, Triple Whale is an e-commerce intelligence platform built for faster and more confident decisions. But yeah, super excited to be here. I'll send my info at the end. So feel free to get in contact with me on, LinkedIn or email.
Awesome. Very exciting, Tamana. Always great to have you. Nigel, why don't we have you introduce yourself?
Thank you, Garrett. Hey, everyone. I'm Nigel. I'm the head of partnerships here at Consio. Here at Consio, we are the modern AI phone platform for Shopify brands. So if you're on Shopify and doing phone support, phone sales, outbound sales, clienteling, we built the platform for it on Shopify and have got a pretty advanced AI agent for phone, which we'll be chatting about on today's webinar quite a bit. Thanks for having me, Garrett.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Nigel and Matilda.
Hi, everyone. I'm Matilda. I lead the product marketing and content marketing team at Gorgias. And for those of you who don't know Gorgias, it's a conversational commerce platform. And what we actually mean by that, a lot of people are like, what is that still? Even though it's been a category that's been around for a long time. You could think of it as like unified inbox, what you know as help desk. And we're really doing a lot of new exciting things with AI, of course, which is why we don't do ourselves justice if we just call ourselves a help desk anymore. So that's how we essentially try to kind of infiltrate the space right now.
Awesome. Very excited. Always great to have you. And then last but not least, the king of AI himself. David, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Sure. Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining today. So, I'm David Noller. I'm the AI Implementation Success Manager here at TalentPop. For those who may not be familiar with us, we're a customer experience agency. We specialize in building and managing CX teams for e-commerce brands. And a big part of what I do is help those brands implement AI agents.
Awesome. Very, very cool. Well, we are very excited to have these amazing people here today. Jumping in to a little bit more about the AI space. Obviously, we're excited to unpack a little bit more of AI in CX. Again, we hear AI just about everywhere, but specifically, we want to talk about it from the CX angle today and also from the data insights, the support and voice level, and then obviously the implementation level, the help desk level. How can we do that as well? And we're very excited to kind of show how these results can come from AI and what they're going to do for a lot of these people in the e-commerce space. Obviously, we're going to be moving pretty quickly here to cover as much ground as possible, but please feel free to drop all of your questions in the chat or through the Q&A, as we always do a great job of answering those questions, asking these amazing guests exactly what the best answers are to these questions firsthand. So again, please drop all of your questions in the chat. Panelists, we're going to kick off kind of our first question. Feel free to jump in when you feel fit. I'd love to, start with kind of a big picture on AI. I think it's talked about so much, but looking at the evolution of customer experience in e-commerce brands over the last few years, how has the integration of AI shifted what customers expect from brands? Even more, what are some of the key takeaways that AI is now improving in the CX journey, and how has it changed from previous years?
I can take this one to start.
Go ahead.
All right, sweet. So I would say from our perspective at Triple Wheel, AI has really shifted customer expectations, right? From this more kind of reactive way of doing things to more predictive. So a few years ago, good CX really meant, being responsive and somewhat personalized. But now customers really expect brands to anticipate their needs and then just deliver relevance instantly. Right? Everyone wants instant nowadays. No one wants to wait anymore. That's another big thing. And I think what AI is really enabling is just like faster, smarter decision making behind the scenes. You have better targeting, you have more accurate forecasting, and just like more personalized journeys at a grander scale. I think the key shift is that brands are really moving from guessing to now knowing. And I think that, when you look ahead, the brands that are really going to win are going to be the ones that are using AI to create seamless and just intuitive experiences where basically every interaction feels timely, relevant, and just overall effortless. Because I think we all have a lot of data nowadays, but using that data and actually predicting what's going to happen next with data-backed insights is going to be like a huge difference between the companies that win and the ones that just get left behind.
I completely agree with that. And I think like last year, even 2 years ago, people were kind of still stuck on that metric of like from CX perspective, like first respond time. AI can answer tickets extremely fast. But I think like that's shifting away. That's almost table stake. Everyone expects for the responses to be fast. But it's, and also FAQ perspective too. Like people know that AI is going to just respond to, let's say, like, what's your return policy? If you have any recommendations on this, like, can you help me out? So it's evolving. But what's kind of currently still missing is the true agentic aspect of it, like AI taking actions. And I'm still seeing brands are not as into are a little bit still hesitant into adopting that because there's a element of control. Like you still don't want AI to, go fire off something that you did not approve. But I think that's where we're continuing to heading towards. It's not just responding, but essentially like taking true actions. And what I've noticed is like a lot of our customers have a lot of different integrations into like Triple Whale, Recharge, Loop, and there's a million different things that people can integrate to. And so what customers are currently doing is like going beyond traditional actions, which is like processing returns, but more custom actions, which I found super interesting and fascinating. Is like everyone is building different ways of using AI agent. And I'm still kind of learning about what brands care about the most. And it's been very exciting to see like how they're building and leveraging other LLMs to build also within our tool as well.
Yeah, I can piggyback on what Matilda was sharing a little bit. Definitely the transition to more like agentic workflows and actions. Thinking about where the tech was for like a lot of chatbots a few years ago, it's really like ChatGPT, and it can return an answer, which is good if you have like a policy question, but people come for like resolutions for sure. So we're seeing that on the phone side, like integrating with platforms like Matilda mentioned, Recharge to edit subscriptions. And then for some channels like phone, the ability to actually like escalate to humans where like agentic AI actions maybe can't solve the problem. So being able to hot transfer to a human either over the phone or have like the mechanism in place to take that conversation to email or SMS if you don't have like a live phone team.
And I think even beyond agentic commerce, I'm also seeing a lot of like the co-pilot side emerging a lot of in different places where, of course, like AI is handling all the customer facing conversations. And then you still need a tool to help you train the AI to have the best conversations from a customer angle. And so this means like coaching agent that walks you through, like surfacing the right information at the right places, quality scoring your current conversations, like it could be potentially better. So that I think what we're also noticing is like the traditional UI disappearing almost. Like, how do we change the interface for it to be a lot more conversational? I don't know if we're completely there yet. Like when I shop, for example, from a shopper perspective, I'm not necessarily always like going to GPT yet. I'm still scrolling. But from my work perspective, I'm chatting with Claude a lot to like build me a workflow on something that I could save a lot of time on. And when I'm like actually dashboards too. And I know Triple Whale has like Mobi, like when you can conversational analytics where you can chat with the interface to, hey, highlight like the top 3 insights that I need to know this week to prioritize. Like has been so awesome because like I'm not the best SQL builder. And so being able to just like use natural language to pull these insights that wasn't possible before. That's why I think Copilot is also still very important and still going to be I think, to strengthen over the next couple of years. And everyone's just going to be using conversations to get insights over like building dashboards and like building, custom work.
Absolutely. Of course. Well, again, we're going to dive even more into each company's individual look on AI. I have a question to pose to the chat. I think Matilda kind of just brought it up a little bit, but I know a lot of people are conversationally chatting with AI these days. I find myself doing this. I want to know in the chat if you guys are more ChatGPT or more Claude people. I want to know where we sit in the chat. So if you use Claude, let me know. And if you use ChatGPT, I want you to let me know because I'm in the mix. I do both, but I'm starting to lean a little bit more towards Claude. So I'm seeing a lot of Claudes, which this is very interesting. This makes me feel like I'm doing it right here. So, anyways. That was just a little bit of a sidebar. Glad the chat could make me feel good there. Diving into kind of Matilda, I want to learn a little bit more about Gorgias. I know they have a bunch of big plans for 2026, just particularly around your AI agent and kind of the roadmap that you guys have for that this year. Can you share kind of what's coming in 2026 around AI for you guys? And I know it's a very pivotal time in e-commerce. I guess what does this mean for those D2C brands? And I guess how can they prepare to take, full advantage of your new advancements this year?
Yeah, and this is something obviously I think about quite frequently as a product marketer. But one thing that I want to surface is like we're actually making an intentional bet and in changing the way we operate, like fundamentally. We're essentially rebuilding the foundation. And I think what I'm noticing is like a lot of in the competitive space, they're building something new, like flashy, let's innovate, which is great. But we're actually taking a different approach of like, wait, let's actually go back to the foundation, and we're actually rolling out a new AI architecture. So we've evolved. We rolled out AI 2 years ago with AI Agent 1.0, 2.0, and we're continuously evolving. So we're actually introducing AI Agent 3.0. And the key difference is that before it used to be like search and respond, but now again, the kind of the theme here is agentic. So the new engine can orchestrate like multiple tools in a single conversation. So it reasons simultaneously, which means it's more accurate and faster. So what we found is that everyone if I think a lot of us are using either Anthropic, OpenAI, Gemini as a base model. But what makes people like competitors slash like players different is like what kind of context layer are you feeding this base model? And so we want to take that bet of like, okay, let's revisit our prompt and base model to bring the best level experience from a quality perspective. So we're very much on like quality. The second bet is Copilot, which is why I mentioned it. Is like what we've noticed, we've kept our AI agent was extremely autonomous in the past. But what we're noticing is that a lot of people still don't know how to leverage AI agent, like how to set it up properly. Why is it kind of giving this answer when it should have given this answer? So what we found is like Copilot does this job of making sure that we're highlighting the right best practices, how to improve it properly, and actually doing the work sometimes themselves too. Like, hey, can you help us revise these guidances? And then you see the draft and then you kind of accept it yourself. So there's a lot of these kind of functionalities coming, more to come. I can actually give you a sneak peek later if you guys are interested. The third bet is like now after we revisit the foundation, we will then expand to different channels like social. We actually don't have AI agent on social, even though that's like one of the biggest channels, WhatsApp, SMS. And then thinking what's next is re-engaging with customers. So if you actually think about SMS, I always get like, oh, you forgot something in your cart, get 50% off. It's like the same message over and over again from my SMS provider. And I just, frankly, I just unsubscribe from it. But what we want to build is that conversational layer into the SMS too, where we are more proactive about, hey, you bought this 2 months ago. It seems like you could be running out. Like, do you have any questions? Like, just kind of, hey, like we're here to answer any questions you need, new return policy. And so we're really trying to just think about customer journey from end to end. But first with the foundation to make sure everything's like in a good place before we start innovating a lot more and going beyond the quality.
No, that makes a ton of sense, and it's very exciting to kind of hear what you guys have in the works here. We have a question in the chat here from Michael, actually for you, Matilda. When will the 3.0 be released, and what are some of the top enhancements? Again, I don't know if you have a release date or anything like that, but I figured that question would be good to mention at this time.
Yes, so it should be available. So we actually rolled out beta. So if you're interested, please email me. I'll drop my email address here to give you early access. But it should be ready July, August, Q3. And then for what are the enhancements, making it extremely like faster, because chat, what we found is there is a ton of knowledge that AI agent is feeding off of. So chat can be a little bit, responsive later than email. So that's fine for email, but for chat, you want kind of faster engagement. So we're making a lot faster. We're able to reduce the speed by 50%. Number two is accuracy. So AI agent, historically, they would kind of look at all your knowledge base, scrape your website, and make sure that the right information gets provided. But if you actually look at Claude also, we're moving into the skills era. So you have to be really an expert in, let's say, refund and return policy specifically. And then so you're able to leverage that skill and then push AI agent to handle that conversation. So that's where the evolution of where we want to go. So more to come June, July. But I don't want to also promise anything but that's our current timeline.
Of course. No, it's always great to get the little inside scoop and even get access to betas, right? Like nothing's better than getting to test it out yourself. So awesome, Matilda. Thank you for answering that question really quick. We're going to pivot a little bit here. Tamana, excited to hear a little bit more about Triple Whales Mobi AI. I know this is something that you and I have chatted about quite a bit, but can you tell us a little bit more about just how Mobi AI works and I guess what the value is to D2C brands and how it can help them, have a better understanding of, I guess, customer behavior?
Yeah, totally. And I think even Matilda, you touched on Mobi earlier, which I really appreciate. So Mobi AI, it's the only AI built specifically for e-commerce. So it doesn't just answer your questions; it actually understands your entire business. So The way it works is that it runs on Triple Whale contexts, Triple Whale's context engine. So Moby already knows your customers. It already knows your key metrics. It knows your performance history and even how everything sort of connects together. So when you ask it a question in plain English, or just in whatever language of your choosing, you actually get answers grounded in your real-time data. So you're not just getting generic advice or, weird stats. What sets Moby apart is the precision. So while most AI tools sound confident, but they mix up metrics like net versus gross revenue or ROAS versus POAS, Moby actually uses a semantic layer, and it actually applies the correct definition and formula every single time. So you can trust what you actually hear from Moby because, like I said before, it's actually pulling in all of your data. And this isn't just passive, it actually connects to expert playbooks, to benchmark data, and your ad action logs. So teams can ask things like, why did my CAC spike? Or what should I scale today? And then from there, you can actually move straight into action. So teams spend about 70% less time on analysis and they start making, faster, more confident decisions because they finally have an AI teammate that actually knows their business as well as they do. So I think, the thing is, a lot of brands have a ton of different data right now. And having that data is great, but it means nothing if you don't know what to do with it next. And that's really the differentiator here is that Moby and just Triple Whale in general, we help you move away from just having that data to actually having these actionable insights, which then can get you to more profit. So spend less time pulling those reports, spend more time on action that actually drives real profit.
I love it. I love it. I love the reporting aspect. I think being able to pull those real results is very key. And again, having an AI tool that can do that at a rapid pace is also very helpful. We know that just customer behavior and timeliness kind of go very hand in hand. I think that's always something that people think of is, how can I get that data as fast as possible so I can make sure I react to it appropriately. So definitely understand where you're coming from there, Tamana. I really appreciate you kind of sharing that. I have another question for the chat. This is me just jumping in here. Has anyone else been pranked by an AI video yet? I have fallen. I'd love to hear in the chat. I got made fun of this past weekend at my family's house for seeing a video that was completely not real. So I have unfortunately caught in the pranked bug of something that was completely made up about a ginormous alligator. So anyways, if anybody else has been pranked, please make me feel better about myself. We're going to jump into another question here and have Nigel talk a little bit about just Consio and their AI product, how it's handling voice, and I guess what specific actions does the voice agent kind of take throughout the customer journey, Nigel? I guess like how does it really go beyond the conversations to kind of help boost those sales and I guess improve the overall customer experience?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the perception and maybe the reality in a lot of cases with voice AI today is it's still kind of stuck in where the chat-based AI agents were like a few years ago, where it's like ingesting the question, querying the knowledge base, and just returning an answer. And like I said in our question one, that works if it's like, oh, I need a quick policy answer, like, hey, what's the return policy? And the AI says it. But like most people are calling in. If you've got your FAQs and everything's clear, they're calling in because they need a resolution. And when your AI is more like a glorified answering machine that can like return answers, a lot of cases, you're creating a dead end in that channel. And then when one channel has a dead end, whether it's like a voicemail inbox or an AI that can't really do anything, it's starting to turn your CX channels into like a maze, and your customers will feel that. It's like, how do I get what I need? And like phone needs to be part of that clear like resolution path. So with that at Consio, we're thinking about this very differently. I mean, we are purpose built for Shopify and a lot of e-commerce workflows in mind. So the goal isn't just to like answer a question, but like how can we close the loop on that interaction and ensure that people aren't just like switching channels, getting frustrated, sending an email ticket now, and like they're getting what they need from that touch point. So whether it's like where's my order call? Okay, can your AI agent text someone their order tracking link? Can it actually search across all of your orders without it necessarily being the phone number like of the person calling, like matching their Shopify profile? Can you query other orders and like authenticate that and give that information? If it's like a subscription issue, okay, can you send them like the link for them to self-serve from the portal? Or even if you'd like to enable taking actions in subscriptions directly, and then like product discovery as well, like AI agents that can talk through product recommendations for complex purchases. And then also like text the person the link to that product. So like people aren't like stuck, they're actually going somewhere. Of course, there are cases where AI can't, or like it's a more complex edge case. And then it's about having those like clear escalation paths. So if you have a phone team, warm transferring to one of your team members who's live while shielding them from like the where is my order calls. But even if you don't have a phone team, we're seeing merchants like putting the phone number up, having AI answer most of the questions, and then they can transfer like into your help desk via email or SMS for a human to follow up by email.
Very
So like,
cool.
yeah, under the hood, like it's really working because it's like deep integrations with Shopify and an AI voice agent that's really built for like these e-commerce workflows, and not just querying a knowledge base and like providing information.
Yeah, absolutely. And I can see it looks like we have a question in the chat that I'm going to hear bring up. I'm guessing this is for Nigel here. But I do see how is legal compliance evaluated? If laws in California, for example, are updated, will the changes be made in the platform?
I'm not sure what laws specifically, but for example, like we do like some outbound calls, and like we stay on top of it. When there was that scare with like SMS marketing in Texas, we added a feature to like exclude Texas residents. So I mean, like we're staying on top of it if that is intended for Consio. Yeah, like any laws that affect voice AI, we'll be sure to push changes as needed. But was there something like specific in mind for California?
Yeah, we might have to revert back to the chat for kind of a follow-up there.
For sure.
But Nigel, no, thank you for sharing a little bit more just about your guys' approach, the way that you guys are really just trying to use AI in the conversational space. I think it's fascinating. I know there's a lot of different, oh, it looks like mostly that CA constantly updates privacy laws. I do know California updates a good amount of privacy laws. I don't happen to know what they are, but I'm sure the Consio team is on that, and Nigel can do some back end research on there for you guys. But a little bit of a pivot here. We're going to be jumping over to my good friend here, our master of AI at TalentPop, David. We know TalentPop AI tools alongside human agents to enhance customer support for e-commerce brands. We know that it's a big piece that a lot of our customers are asking for. Can you just walk us through the results that some of the clients you've worked with have seen after implementing, these AI-driven support systems?
Yeah, absolutely. And, I love this question. I think the results, they do speak for themselves. Here at Talent Pop, we focus on building the right balance between the AI layer and the human layer because one without the other, it just doesn't deliver the same outcome. And, Matilda alluded to it earlier about having a quick first response time. I think 30 seconds or less is kind of like the benchmark nowadays. We expect every AI agent to be able to do that. And for some real life examples as well, we have a brand once was in Australia, kind of an SMB brand. They're currently on Gorgias, and we implemented the AI agent on Gorgias, got them from 0 to 53% automation, and their AI agent has a perfect 5 out of 5 CSAT. And they are using the shopping assistant, so they are getting some ROI of about 34 times. And it's really helpful for like these small brands, or these SMB brands that just kind of need that extra support. Other examples, we've implemented Intercom's Fin with Eli Health. They're kind of like a cortisol testing brand. Got them from 0 to 62% resolution rate, more than half of the inquiries are being resolved. And of course, first response time is expected to be at least 30 seconds or less. Same with Zendesk, even the basic AI agent, you can get anywhere between 10 to 30%. If you want to do more complex actions with the advanced AI, you can definitely get 50% or more. And I think where the shopping assistant on Gorgeous really shines is, on the chat. I think we have a client, Sachin and Bobby. They have a 68% automation and a 33% GMV influence rate just through the shopping assistant and chat. And I think the common theme here is the impact to human agents. I think they come in with just this huge backlog of tickets. They want an AI to kind of help out, and they can really focus on some of those more complex conversations, empathy, relationship building. And I think that balance is really what drives the numbers there.
Yeah, absolutely. No, we definitely see those big drivers, and it seems like we've had a couple questions pop up here on this matter. David, over for you here. What is considered a reasonable cost per resolution? With so many AI platforms invoicing based on resolves or deflections, this would be good to know. What is a reasonable cost today, and how will these costs change over time? I know that's like a four-part question, but
I
if
got
you
you.
can repeat it, I think I can help you out.
So, when it comes to the cost of an AI agent, when I'm talking to clients and, discussing what their options may be on whatever help desk they're using, I think it's good to compare the human cost versus the AI cost. And the way that I do that is by looking at the average handle time. I think high volume clients can expect at least 80 tickets per agent to be handled in a day, which, averages out to maybe about 6 minutes per ticket. And say that agent that you're paying is, maybe $12 per hour. Well, the cost is about $1.20 per resolved ticket for a high performing team. And with all of these other AI platforms, they generally are around about, a dollar basically per resolution, with, others like, Agent Force being kind of on a replit type cost, or $2 per resolution, Zendesk $1.50. So I think what's important is to look at, like, what is the cost per ticket right now for the humans, and can our humans be more cost efficient by doing more than 80 tickets? I have some clients where agents are doing like 150 in a day, and at that point, the cost of the humans is less than the AI, sometimes at like 43 cents per handled ticket. So in summary, yeah, just looking at like the cost per handled ticket will definitely tell you if this is worth it.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that's some good insight. Again, David is kind of in the world of AI every day. So there's truly no better person to kind of go and answer these questions. He's worked with so many different providers and kind of had a good touch on the implementation process as well. So this is coming directly from the source. It looks like we had one more question here for you, David, and then we will move on. Will the panel have view on what the level of resolution is currently and what companies are setting as a benchmark level for future state? This is not a follow-up question, but as budgets and cost balances need to be set and managed.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, from my perspective, we do see that all the different help desks, they have, their sticker target of like what they should, be able to achieve. Zendesk promising up to 80% automation, Intercom towards that as well. I remember when Gorgeous was the 30 and 30 implementations, and now the 50 and 50s. So I think it's evolving over time on what we expect. But I think between that, like, 50 and 55%, automation rate, I think that's where like the really hard problems begin being solved. Because while we can handle all of the lower hanging fruit, it's about continually, evolving your AI agent. And that slight little percentage may be quite challenging, but totally worth it if you can, continue to aim higher and higher.
I
One
love it.
thing I would love to add is, so at Gorgeous, we work with 16,000 brands, And that's something not everyone can say. So we have, I believe we have a lot, big market share in the Shopify and e-com ecosystem. So what personally and like my team has been hearing over and over again is like, guys, sure, AI, it's AI everywhere. There's AI fatigue. Tell me what actually works and doesn't work and the execution. Like, I think people are just kind of craving the honest look into what we're all doing and like, hey, it's not working. Just let's pivot the strategy versus like, it's going to work. It's going to work. It's going to work. So this is where our kind of research lab came into fruition. Is like we were like, let's kind of surface some of the data and let the brands make those decisions. Like CX benchmark, for example, there's a lot of data points out there, but what we found like was missing is like, okay, I'm a beauty brand and my standards should be completely different from someone else. And my company size also matters, not just a vertical. And like no one had a comprehensive data that shows people that are using AI agent, people that are not using AI, the size of the company, the vertical, and the maturity of their company. Like some people come to success like quite quickly. Some has been around for a long time. Are they like you leveraging different logistics system that is a kind of like custom? There's so many nuances, and I feel like people don't have quite the answer. And so we've been working with like partners, brands on working on this data so that you guys can use it. We're truly not trying to pitch anything. It's just like, here's the data, here's what you can see. Make your educated decisions and make decisions that work for you guys. And that's the goal of this. And so if you guys want to sign up for the teaser, like feel free to, and we're going to hopefully release data points and like cost of CX, cost of, AI every 2 weeks. And so just, yeah, stay tuned for it. If you're interested, just kind of sign up and then hopefully it's insightful.
Very interesting. Very, very cool. Well, we're going to keep chugging along because I know we have a couple more good questions to ask each of our panelists. Tamana, we're going to jump over to you. Triple
Yep.
Whale offers, several AI-driven features, and I think we know that, including obviously Moby agents and Moby chat and some of the other things. I guess how do these tools help those direct-to-consumer brands improve their marketing and sales efforts? And I guess can you provide, some examples of some of the good brands that are leveraging this right now?
Absolutely. I think the biggest issue we're seeing is that, if you have just like fragmented or untrusting data, that's like the first piece of it. And then, you can have all the AI tools in the world, but if you don't have the right data, then it doesn't matter because you don't have a solid foundation, right? So the brands that are really moving the fastest, they're the ones with clean, unified data at their foundation. And then when they actually have those questions, or they've set up their agents, then they actually have clear information and just like clear next steps of where to go and what to do next, right? So that's where we can actually help you guys with allocating your spend or even how to improve your retention. But the second piece is really operational. So making sure your team actually trusts that data and then knows how to act on those insights. Because AI, it works the best when it's embedded into existing workflows, not just layered on top as an experiment, right? I think one really good example, and we actually have a full section of case studies on our website. But Dixon, they're a great example of a company that actually uses Triple Whale. Now they have a really lean marketing team, and they used to spend over like 5 hours a week analyzing ad performance across almost like 600 plus creative variations. But now they actually use Moby agents, and that process now takes under 10 minutes, which is like, if you think about it, that's like saving 1 hour per working day, almost 260 hours per year. Think about what you can do with that time, first of all. But this is actually helping them pinpoint top and underperforming ads instantly. So it's not just like analysis anymore. Brands like Under Outfit are also using Mobi to go from persona concept to publish ad in 15 minutes, which is just generating on-brand product accurate imagery and copy that they can actually publish straight to Meta. So again, this is saving them like $30,000 in photo shoot costs and lifting conversion rates by 5%, right? So other brands are seeing similar momentum. Um, I think this is just like, and these are just like two of like thousands of examples of how companies are using these tools. We also work with 60,000 plus different brands. So, if you have questions about how these brands are using these tools and how they're seeing, an increase in their profit, please reach out to me. I'm super happy to, help you, guide you. And I think that's true for everyone else in this panel with me. Like, use us as a resource. We are in your corner. We're here to help you guys. So we're a free tool. And yeah, we're here for you.
Awesome. No, that is again, lean on these panelists as much as you can, guys. Like they are a great avenue to reach out to. That's direct to the source, being able to get all the most updated information and get you connected with them, right? I think that's a big point as well here. Matilda, we're gonna go over to you as we have a couple minutes here. We're gonna try to make this as short and sweet as possible. Matilda, Gorgias AI recently released a new feature that proactively identifies knowledge gaps and conflicts within your knowledge base. How does this opportunities feature really help brands continuously improve kind of their AI performance? I guess what are the big impacts this has had on your clients' customer support operations?
Yeah, so I think this quarter implementation is such a big topic for us. And David, like, if without the implementation, everyone, you will eventually see kind of AI become stale over time with a lot of changing information, which is why implementation is so crucial. And um, and I think that like there's a lot of noise out there. We all know this. Like even I think there's a comment that says like recommendations on how to get unified data. Like where do we start? And that's where opportunities came from because we wanted to create like an early warning system. So AI agent analyzes the conversation and tells you two things. First, like what gap is there and how frequent it is. So you can see, hey, like AI agent wasn't able to respond to 200 different questions about this specific gift card. This is something that we just wanted to flag to you in case you want to create a knowledge to address that. And then the second one is like there's actually quite a bit of conflicting knowledge. Like, for example, Help Center article could show that return policy is like 7 days versus 14 days for your knowledge piece within your guidance. Every company is different. Like Zendesk, they have your own procedures, instructions, like Intercom also knowledge piece, but we have something called a guidance. And the guidance is essentially a key brand standard operation procedure that you would create to make sure that it behaves the way you want it to behave. And if it has conflicting information, then I'm going to prioritize Help Center because it's a customer facing, but it can cause a bit of like confusion. That's where we truly believe that AI is only good as its trainers. So that's why we created opportunities so that you don't have to like dig through different tickets to figure these out. It's opportunities would surface at different levels of knowledge conflict or anything that they're seeing and surfacing it and prioritizing it so that it helps you make those decisions behind the scenes.
Very, very cool. Well, using that data is obviously very interesting and I think something that more and more brands are going to be looking to do, especially from kind of an operational perspective. I know that's a big, big push for a lot of these brands here in 2026. So again, Matilda, thanks for sharing a little bit more about what you guys have going on. David, we're going to bounce over to you here quickly. I guess many e-com brands are hesitant about adopting AI. We've seen some pushback from some different brands about not only, being concerned about the complexity and the implementation and all of the fears and stuff like that, but I guess also the interactions feeling a little bit robotic. Maybe that like it's not very human touch in terms of answering. Can you walk us through how TalentPop's AI implementation actually works? And I guess what does the process look like for a brand that's trying to adopt this, but also still trying to have that human-like presence when you're getting responses?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's definitely a common concern. It's quite valid as well. I think we've all experienced an AI that feels, pretty cold and robotic. I had that experience with a chatbot for Logitech when I was getting a new keyboard, unfortunately. And I completely understand that hesitation. But what I'd say to, any brand sitting on the fence, the complexity and the robotic feeling, they're both solvable problems, and they're actually quite straightforward to address than I think most people think. Um, Basically, what we do here at TalentPop, we look at like what the existing ticket types are. We do a deep dive into the existing setup. What platform are they on? What are they trying to achieve with the AI agent? And that assessment, it tells us where the AI can have the most impact. And honestly, the implementation, it does move faster than most brands expect. We've had clients that go live and hit pretty meaningful automation rates. I think I haven't, experienced those. They're just a bit more reserved. They want to do a bit more testing, make sure that it's good to go. And I think brands, especially that are on like doing some type of drop shipping where it's not as easy to do an order status. We implemented the Gorgias AI agent for Yoda Expedition, and they have complex drop shipping things they have to do, but still are achieving, around 30% automation rate. Um, and as far as keeping it personal, pretty passionate about that. I think that's where I think a lot of brands can get it wrong. They set up the AI, they leave it on like a default tone of voice setting, and they're curious about, hey, why is this being robotic? And whenever I do an AI implementation, the first thing I look at is their tone of voice, in whatever platform may be, because all of them have a similar tone of voice feature. And we generally would just look at your About Us page as the starting point, and we can feed it into an AI tool. We were talking about Claude, Gemini, and ChatGPT earlier, and we just instruct it to come up with a tone of voice based off of your About Us page and use some guardrails. I think the other part is to make the AI agent personable. So adding a name like Alex, your AI agent, and then if there's any handoff language, make sure it's warm and transparent, like, I'm here to help. If you prefer a human, just say the word. And these intentional, setup tweaks, we've seen CSAT move up by at least a full point. So, yeah, AI can definitely feel personal. It just takes, intentionality to set this up. And that's exactly what we bring here to the table at Talent Pop.
Awesome. I mean, truly, like that's as good as it gets right there, guys. Like being able to have that human like touch, and again, like David and his team, like this is what they work on all day. Like that's what I always tell our customers is they have a really good touch on the market. The customer behavior, the responses, also the customers, like the clients' responses, right? Because I think that's a big thing as well, is understanding your market and the types of customers that you sell to is so big with AI. I know David has talked about that with me before, but really understanding what their preferences are as well, how they're going to be receptive to the different AI responses, is a big key here for 2026. Um, Coming to a fold here, we are going to jump in and ask Nigel another question here about, I guess, brands hesitating to adopt AI voice agents. Just again, making those interactions feeling a little bit robotic. We've heard that before. I think everybody's kind of been on a call before, or called in somewhere and got that kind of voice robotic answer. But Nigel, I guess like how does Consio kind of address this fear, and also like what personal changes have you guys made? I've heard about it from you, but not everybody else has. I guess what are the big changes that Consio is doing to really make that feel natural and engaging?
Yeah, well, first of all, shout out to David for doing a lot of the heavy lifting on answering that question from the implementation side of things, making sure the actions are dialed in, um, making sure it's not a dead end for people trying to reach you through that channel when they reach the AI. And then, of course, offering that escalation path is what I was going to say. But with voice, obviously, there's like another opportunity to make it feel more human or at least matching your brand. And that's like really customizing the actual voice itself. So at Consio, we've had a couple of interesting cases where people, I mean, every customer is going to pick, their own unique voice that matches their brand, but like you can even clone a voice. We've had customers who have like brand representatives who are like really recognizable um, to their shoppers, and having like that voice cloned to answer the phone has been something that's pretty fun. But also when you can match that voice AI who's like answering the phone to the Shopify profile and like have the context about that person. Something that's been really cool that we've seen is actually having like Garrett, if you are a loyal shopper at a store and you call in and maybe like you're hesitant about voice AI, like, this thing's not going to know anything about me, like, or my specific order. And you call in and the voice AI goes, "Hey, Garrett, like, thanks for calling in." Right. A couple of brands with Consio have tried that out, and that's been really cool. And like, kind of like surprising them with the experience that like the AI actually knows who they are. And then following up with that and following through on that by like providing like a resolution, like, "Oh yeah, I've got your tracking status right here. Here it is. Can send it to you by SMS if you'd like. There you go. Just sent it." Um, yeah, so the setup, like what David covered, and then like a few like personalization tweaks that are pretty interesting with voice.
I love it. If I called and somebody referred to me as "Hey Garrett," that would get my attention for sure. And I would be pretty keen to take that phone call. So, yes, no, very cool. The customization is always very cool from our friends over at Consio. I know it's a fun tidbit that would probably always get people pretty excited to join in on the customer service line. David, I saw one question in here for you that was kind of interesting. That kind of just poked some curiosity out of me here. I think it's from Noel. We're a sustainable brand, and AI is terrible environmentally. Our customers would be pissed. What are your companies doing to account for those folks?
I think that is a tough question, isn't it? I think I have heard as well that there's environmental impact. You know, I think um, I think as people just kind of get more accustomed to the AI as it becomes, everyday life, I think that hopefully that may, relieve that kind of hesitations and stuff. But I think it's going to take some time.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think there's definitely some circumstances that we've heard about with that as well. I know that we've had some brands that have maybe tried to bring on a little bit of automation, right? And maybe not just maxing out their full capacity for automation as a way to kind of draw that back a little bit. Obviously, it is kind of a new tool, so like David's saying, it's gonna take some while a little while to adopt some of these new technologies, these new strategies, and so on and so forth. So. I definitely think that that's something that over time, hopefully it gets a little bit better. And yeah, hopefully we find some ways to that customers want to engage a little bit more here. Guys, I'm very excited. We have made it to the last question here, which is actually a rapid fire question, which are always kind of my favorite here. What's one AI use case or play that is working really well for your customers right now in every e-commerce or that every e-commerce brand in this audience should seriously consider? And your answer can't be longer than 60 seconds. So I'm not going to have a stopwatch. I'm not crazy, but let's try to keep it at 60 seconds. Who's going first?
I can go first.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, I think one thing that's really working well right now is using AI to turn cross-channel data into immediate budget decisions. So I'm not talking about just reporting, I'm talking about actual decision support. So if I had one recommendation for the next like 30 to 60 days, it would be to connect your core data and actually use AI to consistently answer three questions. One, what changed? Why did it change? And where should we act next? And that alone can actually dramatically improve your performance and your customer experience. At Triple Whale, we do have a free version of our platform, which you're welcome to, to use. I'll put a link in the chat. But that's definitely where I would start. I hope
I
that
love
was
it.
60 seconds
That
or
was great. That was very quick and efficient. I love it. Who's ready to go next?
I can go. One play we're seeing that's working well right now for brands is really trying to encourage uh, people who are pre-purchased to call you. I mean, if especially if it's like a higher AOV, higher consideration purchase, like we have brands who put a phone number on the PDP where it's like questions, call us. Now you can really have like a human to human conversation with that person, but like of course you can't staff it 24/7. So like they might go to an AI as like a fallback. But then you can have your team reach back out. Or they can get their like any answers to their questions from the AI as well. But like using AI as an opportunity to like let people reach you in different different places pre-purchase and then measure the revenue, and you'll see the results.
I love it. That was probably in 60 seconds as well. Nigel, I love it. He got it in at the buzzer. Who wants to go next?
I can go because I build off of that. I completely agree. Like really leveraging the pre-purchase moment is so key. You'd be surprised how many people actually have questions, but they drop silently. So we leverage like proactive engagement tools to really just like connect with shoppers. Like what are they looking for? So that's worked really well, like proactive engagement and then just conversing people pre-purchase and then to increase conversion rate. The second one is oh my God, I'm blanking actually with the 60 seconds. And you can come back to me. I had a good one and I completely lost it.
The stopwatch can be scary. It can make
Yeah,
things vanish from your
seriously.
brain. I
Happens to
should
the
have
Oh
best
my
of
never I, sh
God.
I should have
us.
never said anything. Matilda, you
I
she's
got
got it.
it. Sorry. Inventory, because everyone is struggling with inventory. So we have a specific feature that you can promote large, like high inventory stuff within the conversations and upsell and cross sell pre-purchase. So I think that's like a no-brainer. Why wouldn't you want to? It's implicit cost in your warehouse. So it's so key to really maximize those pre-purchase conversion conversations. So it does feed off of proactive, but I think inventory is just so key.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, that was in with the quick stop there. That was within 60 seconds. I love it. David, why don't
Yeah.
you take us home? What do you got?
Yeah, and just to piggyback off everyone else, the pre-purchase journey, from an implementation perspective, when you look at an AI agent, look at some that can help with that pre-purchase journey, those that have the shopping assistant versus just being, an AI agent for support. There's several options to help, and it's all about, handling support as well as generating revenue through your AI agent. So if I had any advice, the brands that are winning are the ones that are using some kind of a shopping assistant.
I love it. I love it. Well, guys, we are going to get in just at the buzzer here, 10:59. Look at that. It was in the plans the whole time. I want to go ahead and say thank you to all of our panelists that got to spend some time with us today. If you're here in the chat, please go ahead and drop a big thank you in there for these panelists. They're taking time out of their day to come and answer all of your guys' questions. Again, I know they're going to also drop some emails in LinkedIn to be able to connect with you guys so that if you do have more questions, they're more than happy to answer them. If you want to obviously request a free AI or CX audit as well with TalentPop with David and his amazing team, go ahead. I'm going to throw up the QR code here one more time for you guys to be able to jump in and take a look at this. Feel free to sign up for this audit. You guys have a great rest of your day. Again, thank you to all of the panelists, and we will go ahead and catch you guys next time. Thank you.
You.